Preparations for Operation Varsity are complete by 23rd March. The First Allied Airborne Army, commanded by Lieutenant General Lewis H. Brereton, is ready to go. On 23 air bases in the Paris area and East Anglia, more than 3,100 planes and gliders are poised. Personnel of the troop carrier commands check their gliders and load equipment. Field pieces, jeeps, and other necessities go with the skymen. The airborne's objective, the concentration of Jerry artillery controlling the Rhine north of Wesel. Dawn, 24th March, sets Operation Varsity in motion. All during the night, quiet last-minute checks were made. For some of these men of the 17th U.S. Airborne Division, this is their first combat assignment. Now, planes and men sweat out the minutes to the takeoff. The men take it easy while they can. Many weeks of tough training are about to be put to practical use. In 30 minutes, this group takes off. The glider riders help each other get those straps right, get their equipment together. The men are thoroughly briefed, know their jobs, have a good idea of the kind of resistance they will probably run into. This is the first glider-borne invasion of German soil, but the men are confident. Their equipment is proven and tested, their training the best. Field Marshal Montgomery, commander of the 21st Army Group, told these troops, "If the enemy thinks he's safe behind the Rhine, we'll show him he is far from safe behind it." At a little before 0800 hours, the first of the glider tow units moves out. Nylon tow ropes pay out as the plane taxis down the runway. With the slack taken up, the ropes ease the twin glider load onto the runway behind the plane. Takeoff. In almost perfect flying weather, the airborne fleet gets off the ground. In groups, the planes head for two sub-assembly areas, which will funnel them into German territory. 11 airfields in East Anglia, the British 6th Airborne Division prepares for its portion of the Allied invasion from the air. The RAF uses over 400 Horsa and Hamilcar gliders towed by big British Halifaxes and Sterlings. In addition, C-47s and CG-4A gliders are borrowed from the American Air Force. Glider-borne troops are only a portion of the Air Army's effectives. Paratroops are the spearhead men of the operation. Some shooters find a popular way to spend their pre-flight time. Air Force as well as parachute men are thoroughly briefed. Detailed air reconnaissance provides them with every necessary particular, even to specific houses, road junctions, and other strong points which they will find in their drop zones. Watches are synchronized. With the takeoff time at hand, the men prepare to load. Brigadier generals of paratroop and airborne commands buckle up with their men. The jumpers carry the full equipment of a heavily armed fighting man and 2 parachutes as well. The extra chute gives the men a complete feeling of confidence, just in case. Sharp corners and protrusions on the plane are taped to prevent fouling of the chutes or other equipment. These C-46s are making their first appearance in the ETO on a combat mission. Use of doorways on both sides of the fuselage permits emptying of the plane in half the usual time. The wind is right, operations is ready. Commando runs into trouble on the takeoff. Some scarcely clear the prop wash of the plane ahead. More than 1,100 C-46s and 47s are used by the AAF in this sky lane invasion. Southeast of Brussels, the British section joins the American, and a task force of planes 500 miles long jabs its way into the skies over Germany. The paratroopers head the air columns. They will go down first. Their job is to clear and hold landing strips for the gliders. The drop zones are in sight. Await their orders to stand up, hook up, go. 600 feet below lie the Nazi guns that must be knocked out. The use of both doors gets 30 men out of the plane in 8 to 10 seconds. airplane pilots cut their gliders loose as they reach landing zone markers. The tow teams are timed to allow the paratroops to clear specified fields for landing. The gliders come down as best they can. Some have a hard time of it. Heavy flak from Nazi ack-ack batteries in the Wesel area takes its toll of the airborne's planes. Another comes down inside the lines of advancing British ground troops. By 1200 hours, the bulk of the troops are on the ground, organizing their units, starting to attack. Quickly, the units link up and ready their equipment for action. Contact is established with higher echelon commands. Elements of the Airborne Army slice into their objectives. In their first 6 hours of battle, the Skymen took 4,000 Nazi prisoners. Mass crossings of the Rhine by troops of American 9th and British 2nd Armies are now a certainty. Crossings guaranteed by the brilliant and courageous work of the flyers and fighters of the First Allied Airborne Army.